Hello everyone, how's it going? So today we're talking about Gears of War. Now, I'm a huge Gears of War fan. I've played every major installment except Gears Tactics. I'm not into RTS games, but I played every game within the Gears of War core franchise, the third-person shooter combat, and I've been there since the Xbox 360. I'm one of the rare people who actually beat that game on insane difficulty. The original Xbox 360 version of insane difficulty, trust me, you're in for a ride. It is way harder than the Ultimate Edition. But regardless, like, the franchise is one of Microsoft's top franchises. I don't know why they don't promote it as much as they should. I mean, look what they did to Halo. Then again, they've kind of, they kind of destroyed Halo with everything that's been going on with that franchise. But with Gears of War, it's been positive most of the time, except for Gears 5. I'm not really a fan of Gears 5, mainly because of the recycled final boss and the cliffhanger ending that was just plain terrible. I did like the expansion Hype Busters. That was actually really good, and I hope they do more of that, like the idea of like other characters fighting in this war and the more extensive history of the Gears world. But it seems that Cliff Belinsky thinks that the franchise needs a reboot. Could the Gears of War franchise benefit from a complete reboot? If you ask the creator Cliff Belinsky, it does. In a recent interview with Comic Book, Belinsky says that the series needs a fresh start similar to another classic franchise. I believe Gears needs a little of a reboot, like God of War had. And I've always said, Phil Spencer has my number, I'm happy to consult. He said Gears will always be near and dear to my heart. Late afternoon, if I have a mimosa in me, sometimes I'll go to YouTube and I'll look up key cutscenes from the Gears franchise, like Dom's death, or Dom having to put down his wife, and I read the comments. So, long story short, God of War 4 is a soft reboot of the franchise. It's really well received. I think it's fantastic. I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but I always felt like they dropped the ball in God of War Ragnarok of having new Kratos fight old Kratos when he goes to visit the Norns. I mean, of all the memories they could have picked on to traumatize Kratos, I feel like that would have been the primary one about his memories manifesting into young Kratos, where specifically from God of War 3, where he's like listing out all of Kratos' failures, killing his homeland, killing his wife, killing his daughter, killing his father, and repeating the cycle. Because no matter where you go in the God of War universe, there's a cycle that gods will always kill their children, or they'll kill their fathers or mothers, which is what Kratos did, it's what Zeus did, it's what Odin did, and it's also what Odin did as well. But yeah, so it's the idea of the cycle, and I felt like that could have been a huge opportunity. But let's read on to this article. Belinsky left Epic Games back. Oh, it's just a combination. So, long story short, the Gears of War franchise has been a very near and dear hearted franchise to the Xbox community. It was one of the top system sellers for the Xbox 360, right up there with Halo 3. But Gears of War really stands out as this very hardcore, manly sci-fi horror game. It is a horror game. Like, when you read into what the Locusts are and what they do, it's absolutely fantastic. And I felt like the new series, they did the series justice. It was, it still maintained that same atmosphere. It was just the idea that, they missed the ball with the whole idea of like the final boss and what happened there. But if they do soft reboot the franchise, I think the logical step would probably make it a first-person shooter. Like, I get Gears Tactics, but as far as I can tell, there isn't a big audience for that. Like, it's there, and in my Gears of War summary video, which continuously gets views no matter what, it's still like people talk about it, but I'm like, I just don't see what was interesting about it. But the fact is, I should have probably included that. I had it in there, but I was just like, I couldn't get really good footage for it because I suck at RTS games, and I didn't want to show that off. But it is part of the franchise, and I should have included it. But regardless, I would think that a first-person shooter would be the best direction for this, even though that I think the Coalition has done a really good job with the gameplay aspects of Gears of War. Agree to disagree, I replayed the entire franchise for that Gears summary video, and yeah, I think the Coalition really nailed it with that type of system. They expanded on similar aspects from the previous game and just kind of added more. I like the idea of Gears 5 where Jack plays an active role, and you have these different types of sci-fi elements into it, where you can go cloaking, you can put up a barrier, you can hijack enemies. I think it was a really cool idea, and I hope they expand on that in future games where they add abilities. It's one of the reasons why I love Black Ops 3 so much. I like the idea of you take perks from the multiplayer and put it into the gameplay and have the player play around it. You want faster reloading? There it is. You want added penetration? There you go. I just think it would be really cool if they do something like that. But if they do a first-person shooter, considering that they have officially acquired Activision Blizzard, they have a full trench of developers who can take on this franchise. Not to mention, again, Call of Duty. They kind of have some dark elements within their franchise. They have a good idea what it means to be a military shooter. But I think the Coalition will do fine with this, but I don't know. What do you think about this? I don't really think that it needs a soft reboot, personally speaking. I think it's doing well, sticking to what it does effectively, because even to this day, Gears of War is seen as basically the apex of great third-person shooter combat. It doesn't try and break what works. It's effective.